Welcome again to Sunday Springboard. If you were here a few minutes ago and you were weirded out, I was weirded out. Everything just went black. I couldn't see anything. And then when I went on my phone, I was still broadcasting. Who knows? I had to reboot and everything. So if you're back here, thank you for coming back. Welcome to Sunday Springboard with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women become confident and thrive after toxic relationships. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. So I'm a little too frazzled. Let me take a breath. That's what we do when we get dysregulated. We breathe a minute. Our brains get back online. Okay. We want to talk about how to become unfragile. What does that mean? What does that mean? So we've talked about resilience, right? You know what resilience is. We call this resilience 1.0. This is when you have pressure and stress on you, and you after you have it, you bounce back, right? Oh, hang on. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. There we go. My balls are bouncing. This is what resilience is like. So we have pressure and stress like on a rubber ball. You squeeze it and a lot, but then it pops back. This is called resilience 1.0, and this is the kind that we've been talking about all along. I heard a speech this week from a man named, hang on, let me get his name back on it, Tal Ben Shahar. It was really great. A lot of this we've already kind of talked about, but I really liked the way he talked about it, and I thought it would be useful to talk about this again and to share it with you. So resilience 1 is you bounce back. Resilience 2.0 is what he calls anti-fragility. And this is where he says if you've had stress and pressure, then if you are anti-fragile, you grow bigger and stronger after the stress. You don't just get back to where you were. So he says there are anti-fragile systems all around us. One is our muscles, right? When you go work out and you lift weight, you kind of tear down your muscles and then they build back up. And so you're actually, the stress that you're causing to your muscles is not actually doing you any harm. It's actually strengthening and building up your muscles. Have you ever heard of PTSD? I'm sure you all have. This is another word for post-traumatic stress disorder. And we think of that as, well, we know that it's when people have had much stress, much trauma, it could be a severe thing, or the CPTSD is if it's been long-term negative. But have you ever heard of, oh shoot, PTG? I'm sorry, I'm running late in all ways today, so I did not check all my little animations. PTG, have you heard of PTG? PTG means post-traumatic growth. So post-traumatic growth is what happens when we were with 2.0. It's when you have the trauma, whatever, but instead of breaking down, you get stronger. Okay, there's my slide. I didn't take my old one off. So PTG is twice as likely to happen after PTSD if two things. One, we know that it's a possibility. What do you mean? If what difference would it make for you if you know that it's possible after you've been through this stress, this terrible thing, that it's possible for you to come out of it better? Many people, when they're going through the hard times or going through the stress, they're like, they feel like I'm never even going to get back to where I was. I've seen so many women say, I don't feel like I'll ever be happy again. I can't focus. My brain is foggy. I don't feel like I'll ever get back to the person that I was before. Well, what if you knew that it's possible not only to get back to that person you were before, but to get back better and stronger than the person that you were before? If you have this condition, this helps you be more likely to have PTG than being stuck in PTSD. And the second qualification is that we have certain conditions put in place. There's three major sets of conditions that we're going to talk about today. We're basically going to talk about the first one. So the first one is called permission to be human. The second one is the pandemic, which he doesn't mean COVID. He means the pandemic before the pandemic. I'm not going to even tell you what that means. So you'll come back next week and find out what it means. And then the third one is giving. Like I said, today we're going to talk about permission to be human. Next week we'll talk about the other two. So what does it mean, permission to be human? It's okay to experience painful emotions. Now, he told a story about being in teaching a class, and the name of his talk was something about happiness even through painful times, the secret of happiness. And he was teaching this class, and this guy comes up to me and goes, well, I'm going to be watching you really strongly. He says, and if I ever see you unhappy, then I'm going to report you. I'm going to tell all the rest of the kids that you're not practicing what you're preaching. And the guy says, no, that's not what this means at all. I'm not saying that you have to be happy every minute. That's not realistic. The only people who don't feel emotions, painful emotions, are psychopaths and dead people. So if you're feeling some negative emotions, hey, hello, you're human. So it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to experience painful emotions. The other thing that's a problem is social media. We look on social media and everyone's happy all the time. They're putting all their pictures, everything looks great and wonderful. And even in the pandemic, people are learning this. They're remodeling their house or this or that. Everything's great. Everyone's wonderful except for me. So then I don't want to look bad to everyone else. So I'm going to start putting out those same kind of pictures. I'm only going to put on all my happy pictures, where you're telling the kids, smile or I'm going to. We know that that's what happens to so many of those pictures. But we put it out there, and then we just contribute to this great deception, which ends up becoming a great depression. So social media can be a way for us not to give ourselves permission to be human. What if we all started posting the real stuff? Now, I'm not saying we should post all the negative stuff all the time, but maybe just understand that when we look at people's posts, that we're not seeing their worst, we're seeing their best. And don't compare our worst to their best, or don't compare our insides to their outsides. And then there is a paradox. Here's the paradox. Let's do a little experiment. So for 10 seconds, I want you to not think of a pink elephant. Okay, whatever you do, do not think of a pink elephant. Okay, stop. What'd you think of? Think of a pink elephant? So we have this paradox, and anything that we say we're not going to do, anytime we try to push away something, then it comes back more. If we try to reject a natural phenomena, it comes back stronger. So if we are trying to push away any painful emotions, then they're going to stick around. But if we allow them to flow freely through us, they'll eventually won't overstay their welcome. They will leave as they came. Now, all of our emotions have to come through the same pipeline. So if you decide I am not okay with feeling painful emotions, I am going to block them out. When you block out the painful ones, you also block out the happy ones. This is what ends up getting you in a state of numbness, of dissociation and numbness, where you don't feel anything. And if you've been in a state of numbness and now maybe you're coming out of it, It feels more painful, but it feels more alive to feel all the emotions. It's part of being human. To be able to feel love and joy and peace, you have to also be able to feel sadness and anger and frustration. Golda Meyer says that those who don't know how to weep with their whole heart don't know how to laugh either. Now, we're not talking about just resignation. We're not talking about, oh, I'm just going to be sad for the rest of my life. Nothing's ever going to get better. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about active acceptance, which means I'm going to feel my feelings. I'm going to do something with them, something productive. And so how do we do this? How do we allow ourselves to be human, allow ourselves to feel these negative feelings and emotions, and also allow them to move on? And 3 really good tips is: 1, go ahead and cry about it. Shed a tear. If you want to shed a tear with someone else, that could even be more helpful. Actually, they're probably both ways are good. Sometimes you just need to cry by yourself. You might need to watch a sad movie. If you're feeling sad, there's nothing like a sad movie to make you feel a little better. So shed a tear, go ahead and let yourself cry when you feel it, and journal about it. Y'all know I'm always talking about journaling. I'm always talking about writing. Writing is such a powerful tool to be able to recover and thrive, to become confident, to overcome the negativity in our lives. I cannot say enough about journaling. And then talk about it with a friend, with someone who can listen to you. Sometimes we just need to have someone hear us and validate us that what we're feeling is important, that it's real, that it's normal. So many times we feel like that we're the only person going through something. But if we talk to someone like, yeah, I can see how you can feel that way, or even if they don't see how we can feel that way, they can understand the pain that you're feeling. We may not feel the exact same thing, but we can understand to some degree. So in this realm, this would be if you have a good friend, a good accountability partner, or something, this will be helpful for you. If you think you need a little more help, this is a great place for a coach to help you. I would love to talk with you, see if we would work to have a coach relationship. I can help you work on feeling and moving through these painful emotions and let you become the confident woman that you deserve to be. So just as a little summary today, if you want to have PTG, which is post-traumatic growth, which is anti-fragility, which is resiliency 2.0, then you have to have 3 things. You have to have permission to be human. We're going to learn something about this pandemic before the pandemic, and we're going to learn about giving. Now, the whole concept of these 2 lessons are the idea that how do we not just make it through, but how do we overcome and end up better than we were before? We can do it, and next week I will finish it up and explain to you more about that. So that's it. I'm glad I was able to get back on, and I apologize for any of you who have experienced the weirdness. Hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.